it's nice to moderate this panel. Actually, the sustainability is one of the passion for me. So even in our day-to-day work, right? Whatever things that make the greenery, like maybe the green life, right? So I really like those activities, and I think it is nice to moderate you guys from the different expert, the industry and the different the knowledge level you guys have. So I think you can quickly introduce yourself, then we'll start the panel.
Go ahead. So I'm Edmar. I'm heading the sustainability for Black and White Engineering. So Black and White Engineering mainly focuses on data center consultancy. So we offer from concept stage up to construction support.
Hi, myself Manikiran. So I'm project director at Syska Hennnessy Group. So I'm responsible for data center design and delivery. So I've been associated with data center since 2006, so 19 years.
Hi, I'm Katia Martin. I'm from Aggreko, head of sustainability, and we are an energy solutions provider focusing on power and temperature control.
Nice. So my name is Padam Kafle. I'm head of operational technology and automation in Aster Hospital in UAE. So basically, when you are the head of operational technology, it comes everything on you, like sustainability or cyber security or so on and so forth. So I think the today, if you see, this is the era of AI, right? Everything, whatever you say, people come up with the AI. But for the AI, there is a huge demand of the GPUs and even the data centers across the world, right? And then we know the more GPUs are burned, the more the environment is getting impacted, right? So I think the conversation what going to happen today, it will be definitely beneficial for the audience also. So quickly, I think to start with, from the Katia, I would like to start from you. What are the various elements that contribute to the data center's carbon footprint? Is it just using the fossil fuel or the power source?
Being from Aggreko, I'm going to start with energy first. And when we think of energy, we immediately start thinking about the consumption during operation of a data center. But the energy use starts much earlier than that. It starts with the manufacturing, the sourcing of the raw materials, the construction of the facility, the commissioning, the bridging, and then the backup and the maintenance of the facility. So the first point around energy is there's so much beyond just the operational energy use where energy comes into play. The other areas are the capital goods, the embodied carbon of those capital goods. And then for us, I shouldn't be answering this, I'm not a data center, but we've worked with data centers for many, many years. And the first thing for us is to really understand the customer. So I know from a sustainability, not just operationally, but also in terms of sustainability ambitions. So it's the energy, it's the embodied carbon, it's the water consumption. There's a lot of cooling that still requires water, the waste management around it. So there's different elements across the life cycle.
Right. So again, from my personal thought, right? The one is the power source of powers are there, right? But at the same time, when so many CPUs or GPUs are running up, right? The level of heat when it's generated, that is also going to impact into the carbon footprint, isn't it? So in the environment, if you see all of these climate changes, it is going to add some more maybe a negative contribution. So now, Manikiran, can you please elaborate what are some key misconceptions surrounding around the decarbonization, and what step can actually be taken to reduce the data center carbon footprint?
Yeah, so main misconception is most of the organizations, they believe that the energy consumption is one of the main reasons for carbon footprint. But apart from that, as Katie mentioned earlier, right? So there are other sources of carbon. So like they are defined or classified as scope 2 and scope 3 emissions, which are not direct emissions, but there are indirect emissions. So this is the main misconception. And second one is in terms of deployment of high performance equipment. So people strongly believe that this will reduce the carbon emissions or the carbon footprint. But these are the major misconceptions. And what we strongly advocate to all our clients is that they should focus on all indirect emissions as well, in addition to the main direct emissions. And that is where most of the certifications like LEED, USGB, Gold plays a major role, wherein in terms of they help and support organizations to consider all these right from conceptual stage, designing and incorporating all good practices and wherever they can optimize. And one more thing is that the whole supply chain system should be evolve a lot, because currently there are a lot of manufacturers. So even though they have strong commitments towards sustainability, so they need to adopt processes and they need to improve upon their sustainability supply chain so that they can reduce the carbon emissions throughout the process.
Absolutely. So I think the Edmar, if you can talk, is the complete decarbonization is really possible? What is your vision or the realistic goal, the setting when it comes to the data center journey on the path to sustainability?
Well, complete decarbonization, I think, is an ambitious, but frankly, it's a very difficult goal. So, if we are talking about, reducing all the GHG emission, then for a data center, it will be difficult. What we should be looking after is carbon neutrality. Yeah. So carbon neutrality means there's no significant or there's no increment in what you are already producing or what you're already emitting. So how do we do it? I think firstly, there should be a shift in mindset, in philosophy. So we should move away from a one stop or anything or one fits all design. So this is what we're pushing for as a consultant. Every data center should be looked upon and be designed as a bespoke, dependent on location, dependent on the project requirement. So in that instance, you can surely say that this is my target and this is how we're treating our target. And then secondly is understanding what are your biggest emissions. So it was touched upon by my co-panelist, energy. So we all know that as the AI workload increases, the energy consumption of the data center increases. But if we look upon what is an AI workload, we understand that there is much, in detail, there's much leeway we can do. So just to give you a, not very detailed, but just to give you a high level concept, an AR workload, they call a deferrable task, right? So it's not the same as the cloud, wherein when you lose power, when you lose cooling, you lose your data. In an AR workload, there are tasks that can be deferred without the risk of losing what you have done. So in this case, for example, Google is doing is they are deferring some of the tasks when the grid is green or when the tariff is low. So a shift and understanding on what is the actual requirement could significantly um, enhance your sustainability.
Right. So do you want to add some more in this topic, Katia? So do you want to add some more your insight in the is the complete decarbonization is possible when we talk about data center?
I think, I think the goal is already set. It's not negotiable. We know that as a world we have to move to net zero. And that's set, and it's set by what's happening to our planet, right? I do think data centers, as much as they have a significant carbon footprint, like many other sectors, we are all in the same space. I do think they also have, however, the power to drive innovation. If you think of the growth in AI, they also have the power to drive innovation. They have the power to create system change fundamentally, because we're not going to achieve our goals by chipping away at the edges. It needs system changes, right? And data centers, with the growth of AI, they have the power for innovation, for system change, and for supporting the decision making that's needed. Because I think one of the misconceptions is we're further than we think we are. If we look at the latest stock taking of carbon emissions, we're nowhere near in terms of what's happening and the pace. So I think it's important in that. But also, I think sometimes it's seen as a very complicated thing to achieve. I think what we are finding with our solutions, the very first step is to drive efficiencies. Even just by developing the best, most efficient energy solution, you can already reduce fuel consumption, carbon emissions by 20-30%. And that's without even going into renewables yet. It starts with that efficiency and then building from there. So I think that's another misconception. And if you start breaking it down like that, the goals, I mean, they're non-negotiable, I believe. So we have to get there.
Right. So, Manikiran, I think now, so I started with the same statement. The AI is the big boom, right? So everybody talk about AI. So what do you think that when the AI is in the top, right? Building or maintaining the carbon neutral, the data centers. What do you think? Is it happening now, or we can think about happening in near future?
See, AI data centers are already in place. So there are a lot of deployments happening globally, and there are few deployments in the region. And what we foresee is AI is not going to answer the carbon decarbonization, right? So for that, there are more and more steps, as mentioned by Edward, so which are to be adopted by the clients. So organizations should focus on innovations, as mentioned by Katia, to how do they decarbonize the existing facilities. Because most of the places, what they are doing is to accommodate the AI workloads. They're retrofitting the existing data centers, but they are not able to decarbonize the existing systems, which are already in place. And this will take time because it cannot happen overnight or in a short term. So they have to plan in such a way that in next 2-3 years, this is what they want to replace or upgrade, and then they do need to have at least a 10-year plan roadmap, because by default they have some infrastructure wherein they can still continue use them, and they cannot just dispose it off, because they need to follow the standard decommissioning process, and then waste management is also key.
Absolutely. But the other thing, in my view, in another 5 years, what is going to boom and how it is going to boom, right? We don't know. So if you see the data center requirement or the processor or the GPU requirement in past 3 to 4 years, it's like, so the NVIDIA become the top valuable company in the world just because of this, right? So if you see their history 2 years back, they were much lower into the stage. So I think it is pretty much difficult to even predict the demand, right? So the decarbonization we can definitely think about, and that is the only way to save our planet, right? But at the same time, the how this demand is going to generate and how quickly this demand is going to be fulfilled. And of course, the green energy, the one way is the green energy to use, but at the same time, the environmental impact with the data centers, that is still, I think, nobody's thought about. So I think, Edmar, so do you want to put your thought in the green energy, use of the green energy for the data center? What do you think? So it's a complete having the green energy can decarbonize, or we need to take some additional steps?
Well, my last thought is I will take on the last question, right? So I think what we need to understand is not take AI as the bad guy. So we understand that there is a demand, it's coming, right? But we should see AI as a tool. What do we mean by that? AI can be used to optimize data center. So it can predict, for example, hotspots. Once it predicted hotspot, it can then um, instruct the cooling system to do a dynamic setting based on the requirement. So there's a lot of things that's already implemented or that is already been used in or have been used by operators to optimize their data center. Right? And then optimizing workloads, as I mentioned before. So the biggest chunk of energy is coming from IT. So how do you optimize it? AI can assist on that. Then lastly, innovation. So on the innovation part, AI can definitely assist on finding the new materials, new system to reduce your embodied carbon, to reduce your operational cost. So looking at AI as the culprit is not the way to go, but we should look at it as a tool to get into where we want to go.
Right. So, the sustainability is only the way that we can think about our future and the next generation, right? So how they are going to survive if the things are going like this. So I think the closing the remarks. Maybe we can start from the Kati. Uh, what is your maybe a closing point in the sustainability and decarbonization?
I think for me, it's about partnership. Where we see it, we as Aggreko, we are investing in greener solutions and greener upgrades, more efficient generators, more efficient solutions. But it's not about just us in isolation. It's about us, our customers, the bigger supply chain. So for me, especially when you think about a data center and how many different stakeholders are coming together, it's about really working in that partnership. And where we see it work best is when we're able to work with a customer over a certain period of time, where we come in and have different touch points and have an overall view of the energy consumption across the different phases. Then we can really work on maximizing efficiencies, on creating the most innovative solutions. So for me, it's about partnership. And it's also about working across the supply chain and taking ownership. Because I think setting targets is easy. But even if you look at targets, scope 1, scope 2, that's mine, that's yours, scope 3, even more complicated. It's about being clear about the scope of the targets so that we can then see where the gaps are, be honest about the challenges, and really find the solutions we need to find.
Absolutely. Manikiran.
Yeah, so from my point of view, what Katia has said is absolutely correct. So first is the supply chain. The whole supply chain system has to be synchronized, and they should partner with the clients and users to come up with innovations wherein they can start from the day one itself, from the conceptual stages, instead of going into a design which cannot be retrofitted or met the goals. So that is what is. Yeah.
Iman.
I agree with the what has been said. So it's all about transparency. It's all about science-based targets, and it's all about regular reporting. Yeah, as mentioned, we need to have what we call a shared accountability, right? So it's not just the data center operators, it's not just the investors and the developers. We also need to partner with technologies. We'll also need to partner with, especially the government, right? So shared accountability is the key for it.
Yep. I think we come in the end of this discussion. So thank you so much for being such a insightful conversation. I engaged with the insightful conversation. I think we didn't have an option to ask the question by the audience, so we can end the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.